Here we have it, the iPhone 12. It's officially released, well, two of the four models are anyway, and they're making their way into people's hands. But there seems to be a lot of confusion on the differences between the four models and which one to buy. So, before you make a mistake, I want to talk about the new iPhones and what I think is best to spend your money on this year. I'll be going through all the similarities and differences in this video to make it easier for you to make a decision. Here we go. There are four iPhone models this year: the iPhone 12 mini, the iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max. To make this as simple as possible for as many people as possible, I'm going to talk about the similarities between the models before I talk about the differences. All models come with Apple's new flatter and cleaner design, a flat display, no rounded corners to the sides of the phone or the edges of the glass. It's much boxier than the last few years, and it's kind of like a hybrid between the iPhone 4, the iPhone 5S and the new iPad Pro. It looks and feels really nice. I love it. All four have the same new A14 Bionic chip inside, which will most likely be the fastest chip in a smartphone over the next 12 months, and it's Apple's first 5nm chip. We all know Apple creates some of the fastest processors around, and the A14 Bionic this year will be rapid. They all have OLED displays this year. Last year, the iPhone 11 had an LCD display, which it got a lot of hate for in the tech community, whilst the Pro models got OLED displays. But this year, all models have Apple's Super Retina XDR display technology. OLED displays bring deeper blacks and brighter colours, so that's great to see. All models come with Apple's new MagSafe charging capabilities, although the MagSafe charger is sold separately, of course. MagSafe is their new charger, which attaches to the back of your phone with magnets. Think of it like an Apple Watch charger but supersized. It charges at 15 watts and it's new to all iPhone 12s this year. There's a circle of magnets inside the phone which align perfectly with MagSafe accessories like the charger or a wallet, and I'm sure there'll be more accessories to come in the future. The infamous notch hasn't changed at all this year. 3 years since its introduction and we have the same notch in all iPhone 12s. However, that does mean that all iPhones come with the same Face ID as standard, but there's no return of Touch ID like we saw on iPad Airs this year. That's pretty unfortunate. It would have been great to see the return of a fingerprint scanner.
Today, we're bringing 5G to iPhone.
5G has been introduced across the entire lineup, so if you want and need 5G, it's there. I don't massively care about 5G at the minute, to be honest, but the more widespread and reliable it becomes, the more useful it'll be. Right now, it's not a must for me, but so many people keep their iPhone for 2 to 5 years, so it's great that it's coming to iPhones this year. And finally, all models have IP68 dust and water resistance. They all keep the lightning port. It's a shame that USB-C isn't here, but they all keep the same lightning port, and they come with iOS 14 out of the box alongside 5 years of software support from Apple. They are so good when it comes to software support. Now, onto the differences, and it's time to go into detail. The 12 mini is the new one in the lineup for this year, so let's start with that one. The 12 mini is the exact same as the iPhone 12 with 4 key differences. Display size. We have a 5.4 inch display on the 12 mini and a 6.1 inch display on the iPhone 12. The mini has a resolution of 2340 by 1080 and a PPI of 476, whereas the 12 has a resolution of 2532 by 1170 with a PPI of 460. Secondly, the weight. The 12 mini comes in at 134 grams versus the 164 grams of the 12. The battery size. The 12 mini has a 2227 mAh battery compared to the larger 2815 mAh on the 12. And finally, the price. The 12 mini comes in at £699 for 64 gigs of storage, whereas the 12 is £799. So, for £100 you're basically getting a bigger screen and a bigger battery. When we compare the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 Pro, now this is where it becomes interesting. First of all, both the 12 mini and the 12 have 4GB of RAM, but both Pro models come with 6GB of RAM. Base storage of the 12 is 64 gigs compared to the 128GB on the Pro. There's one additional telephoto camera on the back of the 12 Pro, as well as a LiDAR scanner. However, 2 of the 3 camera sensors on the back are identical. There's no difference at all in terms of the main and the ultra-wide cameras on the 12 and the 12 Pro. So in terms of camera quality, from the two main lenses, they'll be extremely similar. The 12 has aluminium sides compared to the stainless steel sides on the Pro, but some might actually prefer the matte look and feel of the aluminium compared to the glossy shiny look of the fingerprint magnet that is stainless steel. The back of the 12 has a glossy finish to the glass, whereas the Pro has a matte finish. I prefer the matte finish again this time around. Imagine those aluminium sides with a matte back. That would be sweet. The 12 weighs in at 164 grams compared to the 189 grams of its Pro brother, and that's most likely down to the stainless steel sides and the extra camera sensors on the back. In terms of the displays, the 12 has a typical peak brightness of 600 nits compared to the Pro's 800 nits, but they both have the same screen other than that. They also share the same size battery at 2850 mAh. Most importantly, the 12 comes with crap colours that look like kids' toys, whereas the Pro model comes with nicer looking colours. That midnight blue is so good. Now, that might sound like a lot of changes, but realistically, in the iPhone 12, you get exactly the same main and ultra-wide sensor, a lighter phone, the same size battery and display, same overall footprint, and matte sides compared to glossy sides. The only thing you're really missing out on the 12 compared to the Pro is that matte finish on the back, 2GB extra of RAM, a telephoto lens and a LiDAR scanner, and 200 extra nits of brightness in normal usage. But what's the difference in price? Well, the 12 starts at $799, but the 12 Pro starts at £999. A £200 difference for what I see as incredibly minor upgrades, and I don't think it's worth it at all to get the Pro. Now onto the Pro compared to the Big Daddy, the 12 Pro Max. Let's start with the obvious, the size. The Pro Max has a 6.7 inch display with a resolution of 2778 by 1284 and a PPI of 458 compared to the 6.1 inch display of the 12 Pro. The Pro Max also comes with 3 cameras on the back, and 2 of the 3 cameras on the Pro Max are improvements to the ones on the 12 Pro. The main wide camera on the 12 Pro Max features a 47% larger sensor than the one on the 12 Pro. Apple say that this difference in sensor size makes for a massive 87% improvement in low light conditions. This same sensor also includes sensor shift optical image stabilization, which stabilizes the sensor itself rather than just the lens, which is the case for the rest of the iPhone 12 models this year. But listen to this, the Pro Max shares the exact same ultra-wide as all other iPhone 12 models this year, but it brings a 2x telephoto optical zoom lens compared to the telephoto on the Pro. This means that on the Pro you go from 0.5 times to 2 times as an optical range, so from the wide to the telephoto it basically has a 4 times optical range compared to the 5 times optical range on the 12 Pro Max, which goes from the 0.5 times ultra-wide to the 2.5 times telephoto. Now, there are all the differences between the Pro Max and the Pro, but what price do you pay? It's an extra £100 to jump to the Big Daddy 12 Pro Max, which comes in at a whopping £1,099 for the 128GB storage. For that extra price, you're basically getting a bigger screen, better battery life, and better cameras. If those 3 things are important to you, or you really need the best smartphone camera you can get on the iPhone side of things, then go for the Pro Max. If the 6.7 inch size is too big, which it probably will be for a lot of people, then I'd recommend getting either the iPhone 12 or the 12 mini, depending on the size you want. But remember, the battery life on the 12 will be better than on the 12 mini. So, to summarise, you should get the iPhone 12 mini if you need a small iPhone with iPhone 12 Pro level cameras, but be aware that you'll be getting less battery life compared to the 12 and obviously a smaller screen, but you'll be saving £100. You should get the iPhone 12 if you want a great size display and overall form factor, the same cameras as on the 12 Pro and better battery life than the mini. I'd say the iPhone 12 is the best iPhone to get for most people. This is the real sweet spot this year. Yes, you can still get the iPhone 12 Pro if you need a LiDAR scanner or a telephoto lens and a 6.1 inch form factor and want to boast about spending £200 extra to get stainless steel sides and a bright gold phone. In my opinion, this is the worst value iPhone this year, and I wouldn't recommend it. Just get the 12 for £200 cheaper, or the Pro Max for an extra £100. And finally, get the iPhone 12 Pro Max if you're a big phone person. If you need or want the best cameras on an iPhone, or if you need the best battery life that you can get. This is the first year that the Pro Max has had camera improvements over the smaller Pro, which makes the standard Pro less of a good deal this year. Anyway, I hope that cleared a few things up. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and don't forget to let me know if you decide to pick up an iPhone 12 and which one you went for. Thanks for watching. This was FoxTech, and I'll catch you in the next one.